Oh no, up my granddad's allotment. It's the 13th of December, the day, and I'm just here doing a bit tidying up. I've not been here for months, at least 2 months. I've been, checking and making sure everything's all right, but I've not actually done anything since my last sort of tidy up. And I think the last thing I did was building that Timu raised bed, which I've got another one, which I'll do later on. Right, I'll just have a quick walk around and show you what it looks like. I'm here for an hour or so I'm gonna have a cup of tea, but I thought I would get a fire lit. This is just getting rid of the broken raised beds. We have got a skip due on the 16th, a couple of days time, but you're not allowed to put any wood or anything in the skip, or weeds, or or soil, so I cannot see the point of the skip, to be honest. But I've got a box of broken glass and stuff that'll probably go in, but the rest of it I'm gonna have to get rid of elsewhere. But yeah, I thought I'd get a little fire going, get rid of some of the raised beds, the rotten wood. I've had it in the shed drying off anyway, so it is dry. My straw bale veg planters well into soil now. They'll be used, I'm not going to get rid of them. I will be using the straw bales when I come to fill up my new raised beds. They were all right. I wouldn't say they were massively successful, but it was a bit of a nice experiment. Getting rid of these raised beds now. They're all starting to go. I've got another raised bed, Timu raised bed, which will go, I think, along these three. I'll take these three out because it's a long one, and I'll replace these, and I'll just do it gradually. Strawberries are all, they're still there. They're over winter and that's not a problem. It's not looking too bad. I've just had a bit of a trim of the grass. These are the Japanese wine berries, so I'm going to cut them back. I'm going to do all my pruning of my soft fruit today. Get it in some sort of order for next year, because these are the tear berries and Logan berries, these two, and they grow on new wood. So I'll take out all the dead wood that's fruited this year, and I tend to swap them directions. So the last year the wood went that way, this way I'll tie it in so it goes that way, so I know what's what. These are still golden beetroots, still there, you can see, not doing too bad. These beds have got nothing in them now, but like I said, these three are going to come out anyway, because I've got one long bed that'll go in here. Still got to decide what to do with this strawberry bed. I brought the jack over to try and jack it up in the middle, because it's sagging, but I didn't have the wood to sort of brace it, so it might just be coming out. Make it another Timu bed. Yeah, this is the Logan berry, so you can see that was last year's wood going in that direction. This year's wood, I've started to train it in that direction, so this is all what it'll fruit on this year. So I'll cut all of that out, tie all this in. This is all new stuff. I think the last time I was here, I built up this Timu bed. I think it's a 2 foot by 4 foot Timu bed. All the grapes are now down, dropped. There's a couple of bunches still left there. Birds, I left them all for the birds. Lavender I planted, it's doing all right, and they were, I think, there was some sort of berries, what I got from my holiday in Scotland. I'll have a look because the labels are there. Blueberries, that bush needs pruning back. I'll do that today, because again it grows on new wood. The fruit's on new wood on blueberries, so I'll prune it all back, tame it a little bit. It's getting a bit too high. up there. This bed is going to have the rhubarb in. I've got 2 rhubarb crowns, one in this bucket and one in that bucket, and they've never ever done anything really while they've been in these buckets. I think I'm probably too restricted, so I'm going to dig them out and put them into this bed here. And then I've got in there, in the black bags, I've got a load of leaves which I'll mulch with. See in here. See what it was. That was raspberry, autumn raspberry and summer raspberry. I think it was something else. 2 raspberries, yeah. So they're going to come up in the raspberry canes on this side for next year. I need to do something with this arch, trim everything back. But I think when I do the Timu bed, I'll trim all this back. The roses need to come down because they're getting too top heavy. So I'll trim them right back, and I'll fill my Timu raised bed with that. I'm not sponsored by Timu, by the way. Right, in here, everything's still clear. Looks a bit bleak and barren, cold and damp. The fig tree is definitely coming out. It's taken over. It's become a bit of a thug. So I'm going to cut that right back. Now the sap shouldn't rise, so it should be all right doing that. Get all of this out. These beds were all leveled, as well. All of these cleared. I'm not putting the staging back in, I don't think, because I had a really successful harvest with my tomatoes this year. Best year I've done for tomatoes for a long time. A good year, to be honest, for the whole garden. I'll come and have a bit of a chat in a minute. And last of my chilies I've gone over now. Right, going to have a cup of tea. And I've got Winston here today as well. He's got his winter coat on and his welly boots. He's not impressed, but it is. I think it's about 6 degrees at the minute. Nice and sunny, but he needs his winter coat on, and he's got his boots on because I'm stripping, and he gets bits of thorns and stuff on his feet. You know, Winnie? Right, cup of tea time. What do you think? Cup of tea? Right, I don't know if you can see this for the sun's quite sunny. It's about 7 degrees, but I'm sitting south facing here, so I'm getting a good sun's sort of coming across from the west there. I'm sitting looking at the fire, so that's canny. Just thought I'd have a bit of a chat while I have my tea. So yeah, I was saying in the greenhouse before, I've had a good year for tomatoes this year. All fruit has been a good year. It's been apparently what's called a mast year for fruit trees, and big trees, oak trees, horse chestnuts, things like that. And mast year, they overproduce, they overbear fruit, so that, you know, the animals, the squirrels and stuff can take what they need, but there'll be enough left for them to reproduce it, you know, so that they'll germinate. What's left will germinate and they'll produce new trees. And it happens every 4, 5 years, 6 years, where the tree will know it's struggled a little bit, you know, and it starts to think it needs to reproduce, so it'll overbear. And that's been the truth with everything this year, tree wise. The apple trees, plum trees, even the soft fruit, you know, the raspberries and taberries and stuff like that, masses of crops this year. And I don't know why, whether it's because the weather was bad at the beginning of the year, you know, really wet and horrible, so the trees sort of struggled a bit energy wise, or the plants, they're thinking they need to overproduce. You'll be able to hear the fire in the background now. It's starting to pick up a bit. So yeah, apple trees phenomenal this year. The two that I've got, one's a Spartan apple and one's I think it's just like a gala apple. I've had buckets of apples from them. You know, I was picking them and just giving them to the old fellas passing. You know, yeah, take a carrier bag of apples away. So you know, the allotment opposite me, opposite the sort of over the road, that's got apple trees in as well, but they're fairly new. He's probably planted them 3 years ago, but he's got them like grown as an apple tree, so he's got a bit of an orchard. He's had, you know, a load this year as well, whereas mine are espaliered against the fence. His are a bit tall actually. I'm surprised they haven't sort of said, you know, keep them down again, because you're not supposed to have them over sort of 6-7 foot over sort of fence height. Hence why mine's espaliered. But I think they must have agreed him, because it's the first one in on the right, to, you know, to have a bit of an orchard, because it was sort of raised up and it wasn't very good ground, to be honest. It's never really been a successful allotment. But yeah, good year for apples and fruit. Tomatoes, amazing year for tomatoes this year, loads and loads. Probably the best one I've had. All my tomatoes that I've done this year were heirloom. I think I did 30 odd varieties, just to try and find, you know, something I liked. And the one I've tried this year, which has turned out the best, is what's called Vivacious. It's an F1 plant, and I don't normally grow F1s because I like to save seed, and you know, if it's good, grow it on the following year. But yeah, Vivacious, it's about, you know, a little bit bigger than an egg, oval shaped, sort of plum tomato, orangey, dark orangey yellow tomato, really lovely. I've had loads. The other one I've had good success with this year, black Crim, which is a small black cherry tomato, almost salady type, a little bit bigger than the cherry. And then the smaller ones, yellow pear, well, bright yellow, almost like lozenge shape. You know, they were longer than a cherry tomato, but they were like lozenge shape, and more or less pear shaped, like a you know, a little teardrop, as it were. They were really good. I've had success with quite a few, but they were the three that stood out this year that have been a bit different. With them being heirloom tomatoes, in the main greenhouse, the big greenhouse, I plant them in buckets with the bottoms cut out. So I fed them, did them normally, but I put them in the ground this year. Last year I had them in pots on the staging, and when they're on the staging, that's not enough height. You only get about 2-3 trusses maybe before they hit the ceiling. Whereas where I plant them in the ground, in the buckets, I'm getting 5 or 6 trusses before it hits the ceiling, so more fruit. So I'm definitely doing that next year. And that greenhouse seems to be a bit better, but because they're heirlooms, I don't prick them out, I don't take suckers off, anything, I just let them go. And it does look like a bit of a jungle in there, you know, it takes over, but they overproduce, and they do get probably neglected. I have to say, I'll feed them when, you know, when they first starting to grow and they're first fruiting and stuff like that. I'll feed them once a week, and then because they're planted in the ground, the roots sort of go away and look for the nutrients. So I don't water them that much, to be honest. The ones that's in the middle, they're in the raised bed in the middle, the tin raised bed. I have to water them more because the raised bed it's just made with rubbish basically. It's got logs in and all sorts in the bottom, so it doesn't retain water that much. It tends to go in and go straight out to the bottom, so I have to water them a bit more. But even them, they were good. They were trailing, up and going along the ceiling and all sorts. The ones in the little greenhouse were the normal bog standard tomatoes, Gardener's Delights, Alicante, that sort of thing. And I didn't do very well with them. And I don't know what it is with that greenhouse. I've tried everything. My dad used to have, because that was his only greenhouse, he had great success. He grew loads of tomatoes in there. And I'm doing exactly the same as what he did. But I think the grapevine, even though I've taken some of the grapevine out, because it was shading, the tomatoes, the grapevine wasn't as established when my dad had it. I mean, you're talking, I don't know, 10 years, 15 years ago now, if not more. And whether there's two grapevines, he only had one in, whether the grapevine's taking the nutrients out of the soil or what, I don't know. Maybe they need to replace the soil or put some compost, manure in, back into the soil, give it some nutrients. But then if I do that, the grapevine will take off again. Although grapevines don't normally need like good soil, and they thrive in rubbish soil, stones and stuff. So yeah, I don't know what to do with that greenhouse. I might put staging in it and make it just chilies, which will be on there. So yeah, that's my plans. Do the same as what I'm doing this year for 2026. I'm going to gradually replace all the raised beds. The pallet collars have been fantastic, to be honest. It must be at least 8 years for most of them that have been in there, and they weren't treated at all. They were just bought in. I was getting them for about £3 each at the time. I can't get them again for that sort of price. I can't get them for love nor money. In fact, if you go to B&Q, they sell them as garden planters now, which are exactly the same. That 25 quid for one. So I couldn't replace them now with wood again. So I've trialled the Timu one. I mean, I haven't grown anything in it yet, but it looks all right. So I'm going to go for that style of raised bed, the tin one, and just see how they go. Gradually replace them. I did the straw bales this year because 3 of the beds were gone, and I didn't have the wood to replace them, and it was cheaper to buy straw bales and plant into them than it was to buy the wood to make new beds and then compost to fill them. The straw bales, they were okay. The grew stuff in them wasn't fantastic at all. Maybe it's the first time I've done it. Maybe it's the way I did it. I don't know. You just need a lot of watering to keep them up. I think what I might do now is keep one of them, the one that's in better shape, and use it this year because it's broken down a lot more. It's soil. The other 2 I'll break up, and when I get my other raised beds, that'll go into the bottom of the raised beds because it's more or less soil now. It's all broken down, and I've got 2 Dalek bins are full of half broken down stuff, and so's my compost bin. So once I get them built, all that stuff will go into the bottom of my compost. The compost bins will go into the bottom of the raised beds. So it's just, I've not really had a chance this last 2 months to get over, and we've never had the weather, to be honest. It's howled it down, it's rained, it's snowed, it's sleet, but the amount of rain and water this last month has been unbelievable. The ground's still soaking wet. If I had you know, a proper traditional allotment where I dug the ground and planted in, I wouldn't be able to do anything, you know. Whereas here, having the raised beds, yes, I've got to strim around the grass and stuff, but that's like half an hour to do the whole lot, you know, every time I come, which is out. But it's a solid ground, I can walk around, there's no puddles, you know, whereas if I had a traditional allotment like all the other ones along here, it would just be a bit grim to work on. You know, well, at least I've still got stuff I can put in. If I had the raised beds up and running, they would have stuff in, you know, winter vegetables and stuff like that. But I knew I was moving things, so I didn't plant anything at all. I haven't done any garlic this year for overwintering. I did it last year, and I didn't get it in time, so it started to rot off. So I can never grow garlic very successfully, to be honest, so it's not worth the bother. I'm going to do a few different things this year. I'm going to have a go at some long carrots and stuff. I've got a couple of barrels which I'm going to use, so I'm going to have a go at that. Potatoes in the buckets, they did fantastic again. I got a massive crop of potatoes. Each 35-litre bucket I was getting, you know, at least half a carrier bag of potatoes out of, so I'll do that again. I've got the buckets there, they've still got half the soil in. I'll just top it up with fresh stuff and bits of straw and that, and my straw bales. And the trouble with when you do potatoes in buckets, it costs you a fortune for compost. You know, you're paying more for the compost than what the value of the potatoes are that you're getting out, as it were. So it's all sorts of courses. I did mine this year. I didn't buy any compost. All the soil came out of the raised beds that I took down, because they were rotten. So there were like 3 pallets collars high of soil and compost that I'd made up of, you know, over the years, just topping it up with leaves and compost. I use my compost off my tomatoes and stuff, you know, at the end of the season. I'll break that up and put that into the raised beds. So they probably, you know, had about 8 years of build up of good stuff, to be honest. But I used them all on my potatoes this year, and because I had them, it cost us nought. The potatoes cost us for the seed potatoes, which, you know, I got a good deal off Budget Seeds. That deal's still there. If you go back, I'll put the poster on my at the end. But yeah, if you use the code, the QR code, or the code I think it's Grandad's Grand 10, you'll get your 10% discount off when you put it in. So yeah, I'll probably have another visit at Budget Seeds this year at the beginning of the year, just to go and pick up my stuff, because I got a good deal off them last year, and they've been really good seeds. In fact, all my tomato seeds, most of them were Budget Seeds this year, so I've had a really good everything. I don't, it's been really good, yeah. And not for the, you know, want of coming down doing loads every week. I'll just put the stuff in and let it go. So right, I've blathered on enough. My tea's gone cold, so I'm going to find me hat because my head's getting cold, it's getting windy. And I'll see you on the next one. Catch us later. Right, I've just popped up the code there for Budget Seeds. If you want to just pause it, you'll be able to either scan the QR code, or it's GRDALT 10 for 10% off. Just put that into your checkout, you know, when you go to buy your seeds, and you'll get a discount. They are starting to do a load of stuff for 2026. I've seen the emails coming through, so they are getting a load of stuff, and they've got a load of 15p seeds on there as well. So yeah, that's the place to go. Highly recommend them. I'll see you on the next one.